I think not only I've mentioned it multiple times this offseason, but also I believe ownership has as well, that there are plans on not having to play under the current deal. So I think that's something we have a common goal to get to. I think that's the plan moving forward, is like, no distractions. I'm excited to be here. I think it's great seeing the brotherhood that's been created here, and it's special. So.
Are you optimistic that something gets done? I mean, I think everyone's feeling you coming back is potentially it's getting a little bit closer. Do you feel it coming
Well,
back?
I think optimism is a, it's, I think it's just a one day at a time. I'm going to be the best Trey Hendrickson I can be, whatever that looks like. And like I said, I'm not going to be here to be a distraction. Do this for 20 minutes. Not interested. I'm going to go back to the way it's been the last 4 years. I'm very excited about that. So, get it while you can. So.
Personally, for you, you've done more media than you've ever done in the last few months. How are you handling all this personally?
Well, I'm a firm believer of hard work works. The work I've done in the last 4 years, 5 years, 8 years in the NFL is done. I can't do any more at this time to rush the passer on Sundays. The hay's in the barn. It's just whether we agree or not.
Trey, Joe mentioned the potential of this defense, especially when you do get back on the field. How excited are you about the potential of this defense kind of once you get back with Jamar and Giller and all of these guys?
I think that's why July is great for potential, and as we're ironing out what will be our concrete identity as a defense, that is something to be excited about. I think there's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of my friends obviously aren't here. There's a lot of people that I value and have respect for that currently are in the building and the process they go about defense. So there is a lot to be excited about the 2025 Bengals defense.
Is what you're looking for in the deal, has that changed at all? You told us back in the spring. Is that pretty much still what you're looking for, what you would like?
Yeah, I think I've been saying it for years. You guys can look that up. I'm not interested in going over what I've said before. I think everything's out there. Now it's just like focusing on this defense, like how I can help, how I can mentor, how I can be a part of it in this weird process that we're going through.
Joe was talking about your presence being a difference maker in the building. As a guy who's been here for several years, are you aware that your presence makes a difference to a young defense trying to grow?
Well, what I can say is that I'm blessed to have the opportunity to give wisdom and knowledge that I've gotten from other players. To hold that as my own and say that I know everything is not true. I'm looking forward to learning and adapting into this 2025 defense however I can when that time comes. But for right now, like I said, nothing has really changed. My perspective and my wife talked about it, prayed about it. What are we going to do? How are we going to handle what's been conveyed to us? And I think punishing the young players and not being a part of their development, it would be a selfish act. So to come back, quote unquote, it was never the plan to leave. So being here for those guys is something I look forward to doing soon.
Trey, while you're not practicing, what's the key to being ready for week one from the football standpoint?
I'm always ready. I think that's something that I take a lot of pride in, training hard in the off season, getting bigger, faster, stronger. I think I tell Jeff Hobbs the same thing every off season when we've been here together the last 2 years. So how I train, I'm not worried about. If I'm going to be ready, I'm not worried about it. Hopefully everything works out that we don't have to worry about anything like that.
And you feel like you put a ton of work in, you put a lot of production in. How important is it for you to be recognized maybe as one of the best edge rushers in the league? How much is that?
Recognition's not something I'm chasing. It's not. I think I've made my statements clear. Security is something that I value, and telling my wife where we're going to play. Those are the things that matter to me. I can't talk about statistics. I can't talk about recognition or anything like that. I think when you get those things, it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm blessed to have some of the accolades I do, but I don't chase those things. So.
What's the conversation been like with Al as you've kind of tried to figure out what the defense is going to look like from afar? How much have you talked to Al to get a feel of kind of what he wants the unit to look like, what he wants your role to look like this season?
Yeah, in the short time I've been in these meetings, it's been encouraging. I think he's a very wise coach. He's been here before, so nothing but respect for him. And moving forward, we'll see what transpires. So I think that's been, 5 minutes? So maybe one or two more.
Have you noticed there's been a lot of talk, Trey, about the energy of the young guys, the confidence of the young players? You've been around, I know, just one day. Can you sense it? Can you notice what the defense is putting out there as far as their energy level?
Yeah,
training camp?
I think a ton of raw talent. You know, when you see guys with the athletic ability that they have and the tools with not only the coach's scheme and how they fit within it, I think it's really exciting, like we were talking about earlier. So I have confidence in them and what they can do. I hope that I can give them something that I've learned in the past in the time I'm here doing whatever this is. So.
The front office is pretty open about saying we want to give him a raise. Like they're not always as vocal about that kind of stuff. They were with you. What does that mean? How did you interpret that? The fact that they were pretty open about, listen, we know he's outperformed his contract. We want to make that happen.
Yeah.
What was your response when they said something like
Well,
that?
I've played the last 4 years and represented this ownership wherever I've gone. On Sundays, I'm wearing stripes. So that's something that for them to talk about me in a high regard is a special thing. You know, if you told me that when I was 18 years old that would happen, part of me my heart would be warm. Circumstantially, I'm more excited at getting something done. But as we continue to go through this process, I plan on handling it with respect to Zach Taylor, to the 2025 Bengals, and not being a distraction in any way, shape, or form.
All right, thanks, Trey.
Thank you.